Hello, good morning all. Today in this video we are going to discuss regarding how to add settings or configuration for a module in Odoo. So currently in the screen you are seeing Odoo version 15 community edition where we are continuing our Odoo 15 development tutorials. So what the point that we will be discussing is about how to add settings for a module in Odoo. So if I go to any existing modules like sales, and if I go to the configuration then to the settings, here you can see we have a view where we can configure or we can activate different things in the database. Suppose if I need to get product configurator in the database, I can just tick it from here, and if I click on save, this functionality will get enabled in database. So the settings is a place where we will place the general things, or the configuration that has to be made in the database has to be placed inside the configuration. So similarly we will be adding a configuration for our hospital module. So if I go to the hospital module discard, and if I go to configuration, I'll be adding a new menu called settings under the configuration of hospital, and we will be adding a field where we can configure the default days for canceling appointment. Like right now if I come to the appointments, you can see the appointment can be cancelled without any days. Like what I can say, if I book an appointment I can cancel it. And what I can say, we will make a configuration where we can specify the days by which appointment can be cancelled. Like if appointment is booked for May 1, it can be cancelled only 5 days before. If it is less before 1 day, it cannot be cancelled. So let's see how we can add a configuration or setting to this hospital module. So I'll go to the PyCharm. Here we have the custom add-ons, and here we have the OM hospital module. So what we have to do, we have to inherit a model. So if you come back to the sales and then to the configuration settings, here you can see the model is ResConfig Settings. So if you navigate to invoicing also, then to the configuration settings, everywhere the model is ResConfig Settings. So this is the model of configuration, ResConfig Settings. And once we come to the settings, here you can see we can access all the settings. From here we can access general settings, CRM, sales, inventory, invoicing, everything can be accessed. So what we will be doing is that we will be adding a new menu called settings, and on clicking the settings we will be receiving a screen like this where we have hospital here and its related configuration. So first of all what we have to do, we have to inherit ResConfig settings to our module. So if I take a fleet as a sample, so let me check the ResConfig settings inside the fleet module. So I'll go to the PyCharm, and here we have the Odoo source code. I'll go to the add-ons folder, and if I scroll down, you will see a module called fleet. So if you check here, we have the module called fleet, and inside the models folder you can see a file called ResConfig settings. So what I'll do, I'll simply copy this file, copy, and I will paste it inside OM hospital module. So inside the models folder, I will paste this file. I will paste this file, paste. Have pasted that file, and what we have to do, we have to import this file inside init file. I'll import this here inside the init file ResConfig settings. Then what we have to do, we have to open this file, and I'll remove this part of Odoo etc. From Odoo import fields and model, we have inherited ResConfig settings. So I'll just remove this bracket, ResConfig settings, and here you can see it's a transient model. So let me remove these parameters from here, and let me adjust. So you can see this is a transient model. So the transient model will not store data in the database, so the data has to be stored in some another place. So let's see how we can do that. So first of all what I'll do, we have inherited the model. Now we have to add a new field. So cancellation days, I'll create a field called cancel days, an integer field. Cancel days fields dot integer in order to specify the number of days to cancel the appointment. So I'll give the string as cancel days. I'll give the string as cancel days, And what we have to do, we have done. So we have simply added a field, cancel days, and we have imported the file inside the init file. Now what we have to do, we have to create the corresponding view and add the field inside that view. So for that also, I'll take the sample from the fleet module itself. So if you check views folder, here you can see you have called ResConfig Settings view.xml. So simply I'll copy that file and I will put it inside the views folder of OM hospital. So here we have the views folder. I'll right click and I'll paste that file, and the name is resconfig settings view.xml. Click on OK. So we have just copied a sample from fleet module. Now what we have to do, we have to import this file inside the manifest file. So I'll copy the name and I'll go to the manifest.py and I will import this file here, that is resconfig settings views.xml. So I have just imported that file here. Now what we have to do, we have to adjust this file according to our need. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to add a menu and we have to set its parent, everything, etc. So let me adjust this file. First of all, what we have to do, we had to add a menu inside the hospital module. Under the configuration, as a first menu, we had to add a settings menu. So I'll name it as hospital config settings instead of fleet config settings. I'll name it as hospital config settings menu, name settings. Then we have to specify the parent. So we have to specify the parent as configuration. So I'll go to settings, technical, user interface. Here you have the user interface, menu items, and I'll search for configuration, and here you have hospital configurations. I'll open it and I'll click on debugger button and I'll get its external ID, OM hospital menu configuration. So I'll copy that and I will put it as parent for my menu, parent OM hospital menu configuration sequence. I'll put a minimum sequence so that it will be appearing first. So if you check here submenu, the tags has got sequence 10. So I'll put a less than value. So it will be appearing as a first submenu of configuration. So I'll keep 0. And then what we have to do, we have to define an action that on clicking that menu, an action has to be executed. So we have to define an action. So I'll create an action with name hospital config setting action. Name is settings, type ir.actions window. Model is ResConfig settings, the model that we have inherited. ResConfig settings, that is specified. View mode should be form, target, inline, and here in the context I'll pass my module name. So our module name is OM hospital. So module, I'll pass OM hospital and I'll set bin size false. I'm not sure why this keyword is used. So once I get the information, I will be adding the details of bin size in the video description section. For now, you can keep bin size equal to false. So we have defined an action. So I'll copy this action name and I will specify in the menu item hospital config settings action, and I will specify inside menu action. So we have successfully created a menu and its action. Now what we have to do, we have to define the view. So if you check this existing view that we have copied, here you can see we have created it as a inherited view. We are not going to create a new view, because if you come to any settings like sales configuration settings, here you can see we have options like save, discard, etc. So those all things will be coming from this view, base res config settings view. So we have to inherit this view. So you can see we have to inherit. Whenever you add a new settings, you have to inherit this view, base resconfig settings view form. Now you can give a name. So I'll give the name as resconfig settings view form, or you can give hospital config settings view as your wish. And I'll put resconfig settings view and I'll put hospital in order to identify this is view related with hospital. I'll name it as ResConfig settings view hospital. Model should be ResConfig settings. Then what we have to do, field name arc type XML. Then we will be inheriting. You have to inherit XPath expression div class settings inside. So this is common for all the things. We have to inherit this, then we have to design our thing. So we have inherited div has class settings position inside. We are going to add our view inside these settings. So our view will be starting from here. So rest of the things will be common for all the settings. So what we have to do here, div class app settings block, you have to use this class. Then data string, you have to specify data string. So the data string will be responsible for the string coming over here. You can see here we have strings like the general settings, CRM, sales, inventory, invoicing, projects, fleets, etc. So those strings will be coming from here. So you can put the string as hospital. Then you can give ID. I'll put the ID as hospital. Then string also, I'll put hospital. Then the data key. So the data key has to be given. This key that we have given here, module OM hospital. So I'll copy this key and I'll put it as a data key. And for now we don't have any user groups, so I'll remove this user group, and here I'll give h2 a heading. I'll give hospital management. So I'll write hospital management. Simply I have given hospital management, and this is some class row. This you can give an ID, hospital setting. I'll give hospital setting ID as hospital setting. Then div class box, left pane, right pane, and cancel. I'll give a label as cancellation days, and here I'll remove this. Then here we have to add our field. So our field is cancel days. So I'll copy that and I'll change this label cancellation before. So simply I have made it like this. So I have just created a view. Now what I'll do, I'll simply restart the service and let's upgrade the OM hospital module and see what happens. So I'll go to the apps menu and I'll click on upgrade. So you can see the module is getting upgraded without any errors. So if I come to the configuration, click on settings, you have a view. You can see hospital has been added here, and hospital management, a header which is coming from here, and you can see cancellation before this span has been added here, 0. So this is the field cancel days, field name cancel days, and span days. Now what we can do, user can come here and he can record the days over here and save. So if you click on save, this value will not get saved in the database. So if you enter anything, it will not get saved in the database because this is a transient model. So in order to save that along with the field definition inside the model, so I'll go to the ResConfig settings. So here we have the field. So along with the field definition, what you have to do, you have to add one more key called config parameter, then specify a name and copy the name OM hospital dot cancel days. You have to specify like this. So once you specify like this, it will create a value or entry inside IR config parameter. So simply I have added a config parameter equal to, and I have given a name, that is OM hospital dot cancel days. So let's restart and let's upgrade and see. Right now before upgrading, the value is not getting saved. So I'll go to the apps menu and I'll upgrade OM hospital module. So you can see the module is getting upgraded. Now if I come back to the settings and if I enter, you can see 6 because this I have entered before testing. That's why you got the value. So right now you can see A6 was coming automatically here, which is coming from settings. If you go to technical, then you can see a menu called config parameters. So if you come here, system parameters, IR config parameter, you can see the model is IR config parameter. If you search for cancel days, you can see its value is 6. Now if I click on edit and if I change it to 10, I'll click on save, and if I duplicate this tab and if I come back to hospital configuration settings, you can see the value is coming as 10. So if I remove this, I'll just delete this one, delete, and if I refresh, the value will be 0. You can see the value is 0. So we have just removed this thing. Now we have to upgrade the module again. So if you upgrade the module again, so I'll go to the apps menu, and if you upgrade the module again, it will create an entry here. So the module has been upgraded. And if you search again for cancel cancel days, I think the parameter is not added. Cancel days, maybe, I think, as I have deleted. So what I have to do, I have to make a fix external identifier. Let me cancel days. Let me check one thing. Cancel days, yeah, just this one thing I'll have to delete, and I have to upgrade the module once again. So let me upgrade the module once again. So the module is getting upgraded, and if you come to the settings, then to the technical, then to config parameters, that is external identifier, then system parameters, and if you search for cancel days, it's not added. So I'll do one thing. So it seems it has been not added, so just I'll change the name. I'll put the cancel day. I have just added the parameter as cancel day, and I'll upgrade. So the issue was causing because before recording this video I have just tried with the same key, cancel days. So that's why problem. So I'll come to settings, technical, then to system parameters, cancel. Still it's not added. Cancel this, maybe as I have deleted it causing the problem. So let me do one thing. So let me uncomment comment this, and let me from the manifest file also, let me comment that. So the field will be getting removed from the database. So I'll go to the apps menu, and I'll upgrade IM hospital module. So just what I'm trying to do is that to delete that field from the database. Now I have deleted the configuration. Now I'll enable it again. ResConfig settings. I'll import it again. Now let's see what happens. I'll go to the apps menu, and I'll upgrade IM hospital module. So you can see the module is getting upgraded. And if you come to the configuration settings, and let's try to save a value 5, click on save. Let's see whether it saves or not. You can see it has been saved. Now if you go to settings, technical, config parameters, system parameters, and if you search for cancel, you can see a key OM hospital cancel day, and its value is saved as 5. Now if I change it from here, if I just refresh, let me go to another menu. Yeah, you can see right now it's 5. So if I change it to 6 or 7, and if I click on save, this value will be getting updated here. You have entered 7, and if you refresh, you can see this value will be changed to 7. So the values in the settings will be saved inside this table IR config parameter. So this key, if you come to the view, that is to the model, we have specified config parameter. So this is a shortcut Odoo has been introduced, and once you specify this for a field inside ResConfig settings, it will create a record entry inside IR config parameter table with this key OM hospital cancel day. OM hospital cancel day, and once you change the value, it will get stored inside this table, and whenever we load this, it will read the value from here, and it will be displayed here. So this is how we can add configuration for a module in Odoo. Simply inherit ResConfig settings, define your field, config parameter equal to specify a key, and it has to be unique. Make sure that you are passing a unique key on hospital dot cancel day. Then inside the view, we will be adding a menu. From that menu we will be calling an action, and from here we will be adding the view. From here we are inheriting based rest config settings view, and we have to add it inside div has class settings inside, and make sure that class app settings block data string, this data string is responsible for the string that is displayed over here, and the icon will be coming from the module icon. So if you check OM hospital, we have the icon, module icon, it will be taken here. Then ID, we will be specifying a unique ID for inheriting later. String hospital, data key. So data key is OM hospital. This key module, you have to specify this key. So once we click here, the configuration settings, it will be taken to our own settings rather than sales, etc. The module key, the context, in context we are passing module, and that has to be given as data key. Then here we have added a header hospital management. With some class we have added our field name, cancel days. So I hope you understood this video. If you have any doubts, feedbacks, or suggestions, don't hesitate to share with us over the email, that is odomates@gmail.com, and feel free to connect us in the social medias like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and please follow us in GitHub also. So that's it for the day. Have a nice day. Thank you.